So if you have a quadratic equation like x squared plus 5x minus 12, and you can't factor it, you could also solve it using this method called completing the square. So if we remember back that perfect squares, if you have something like a plus b squared, when you FOIL this, it becomes a squared plus twice ab plus b squared. You get that double the outer, the inner term. So, if you have something like x plus 5 squared, your first is x squared, your last is 25, and your outer and your inner combine to 10x. Whoops. So if you look at a regular equation and you want to solve something like this, so you can't factor this, but I could look to see what could I add to x squared plus 6x to make it a perfect square. Well, I notice that this is an even number, so I could make it x plus 3 squared, because 3x and 3x is going to combine to give me 6x. So if I want to write this as x plus 3 squared, that means I need to add 9 to each side. How can I get rid of that guy? Okay, and I would need to add 9 to each side to keep it in balance, keep it all even. So now I've made this x squared plus 9x into a perfect square, because this is x plus 3 squared. 11 plus 9 becomes 20. So now I have x plus 3 squared is 20. So I could take my square root of each side now. I'm going to just extend this line so it looks pretty. And here, and here. Perfect. So when I take my square root of x plus 3 squared, it just undoes the square root here. So I'm left with x plus 3. Now on this side, square root of 20, it combines to 4 times 5. So this is still underneath the square root. So square root of 4 becomes 2. Square root of 5 stays square root of 5. But if we remember, we also have a positive or a negative. So it could be either one. So let's continue this on to the next slide. Here we go. Oops, I guess I got to clear that. Okay, here we go. So here's where we were. We take the square root of x plus 3 squared and the square root of 20. We're left with x plus 3 over on this side. And the square 2 times the square root of 5. If it's still confusing how to take a simplest radical, you could just make square root of 20 into 4.47. So you have plus or minus, because it could be a negative 4.47 or it could be a positive 4.47. So here's where we get our two answers. We subtract 3 from both sides. Minus 3, minus 3. So we have negative 3 plus 2 radical 5, which gives you 1.47, or negative 3 minus 2 square root of 5. So you're backing up to right here, and you're just taking minus 3 from each side. That's where that comes in. So you're left with x equals negative 3 plus 2 radical 5, or negative 3 minus 2 radical 5. So here are your two differences, the plus and the minus. So here are your two answers, 1.47 or negative 7.47. So if you would copy this whole slide and this continuation of that slide into your notebook. That would be great.